Hey y'all, my name's Seth Packan, and this is Podunk Perspective, a podcast based on the Podunk Perspective. Sweet. I want to give a big cheers to Mr. Rodney Smith right here.
What's up? What's up?
Thank you for coming on Podunk Perspective. I appreciate it very much.
Of course.
You were one of the first people that came to my mind when starting this podcast. You're very influential in this town.
Something like that.
A very positive guy, it seems. And a lot of people like you, dude. I think it's pretty cool, and I love the positivity that you share out and about. Can you kind of tell us how you first had the idea to ever come to Nashville? You know, what was Little Rod like? You know, that whole thing.
Well, growing up in San Antonio, Texas, pretty quiet town. It's not really like a lot going on there, but I left to go to Kansas pretty quickly right after high school to go play soccer. So I played soccer in Kansas for 4 years. And
was that high school, college?
College.
College?
Yeah, I played college ball and then a little bit of semi-pro.
What college?
It was University of St. Mary.
Okay.
Yeah, that was, which is in Leavenworth, a little small town. And then I played in England and in high school as well.
Really?
Yeah, in Liverpool. So soccer was always supposed to be the focus. And then kind of like once I started school, I realized I loved entertainment. I loved coming up with ideas and talking to people, interviewing to people. So I switched from soccer to entertainment. Like I knew I didn't want to play professional after college. So I kind of like shifted my focus going into radio. They have these radio institutes called the National Radio Institutes, and they're all over the U.S. Only like 20 students get selected. And I came from a small school, so like we didn't really have a big radio station. We had like a do-it-yourself radio station.
Yes, sir.
Like we had to build up. So we went to this radio institute in Boston, and I come in there, guns blazing, trying to get a job. And it's only 10 days, so you got to basically shoot your shot in the radio industry. But they don't have a lot of country music up there. And they were like, oh, you want to go into country music? And that's when I started getting like all the side eyes. I was like, yeah, like I think I want to do country radio. Like, so all I damn near listen to is country music. So they were like, okay, we're going to give you a scholarship to go to the one in Kentucky to redo this because there's not a lot of country music in Boston. So we came down to the one in Kentucky, and my car broke down after we took a field trip down to Nashville. So I got a job in Nashville, long story short, and promotions and radio. But my car broke down, and I had nowhere to go. So I was like, I guess I'm moving to Nashville. And I just kind of landed here by accident and just stuck it through. Because, it was 10 days to get a job, but I was traveling through to go live with my dad's side of the family in D.C. because I was like, I'm going to go find a job up there. I was with the girl at the time. Ended up getting this job in Nashville. So I was like, well, time to pivot my whole life.
Yeah.
And I just stuck it out here, and then it's been a blessing since.
That's awesome. So you went from soccer to Nashville and professional soccer, right? Like,
yeah.
That is pretty impressive. What position did you play?
I was a wing and forward. Yeah, I was pretty fast.
Did you score?
Oh, yeah.
A lot?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so cool. So what was the experience like being over in England and doing that thing?
Well, it was cool. Anywhere you go as overseas as an American, you're going to get a lot of publicity, especially if you're over there for soccer. We were little celebrities. It was really cool. Everywhere we went, people were taking pictures with us, and we ended up playing. I don't know if you watch soccer, but Manchester City's like big team. We played the reserve team. Obviously got smacked, but it was an experience, to say that you played against one of the best Premier League teams damn near in the world. So, but it was fun over there. It was it was a different culture shock. The food was different. As a Texan, there's no sweet tea over there, so that took a little bit of an adjustment. Asking for sugar, and they were like, "You can't do that," and I was like, "Well, I guess I can't make my own sweet tea here because it was all hot." Dang. So it was just a little bit of a culture difference. But
what was the time span that you were over there?
We were there for like a month and a half. Damn. Yeah, so you're basically trying out for a top team over there, but it's in high school, so you're pretty young. So if you don't really have like professional dreams, like diehard professional dreams, like it's hard to commit to going overseas straight after high school with no degree, because you were only allowed to get your sports management degree, and education is second over there. Soccer's first.
Wow.
So you were basically like signing up for a full-time job of soccer, and it was straight in high school. So it's kind of difficult to commit to that when you're young.
And it was one of those things when you were younger, like in high school, middle school, that you knew that you were going to go pro in soccer? Or?
I don't think I knew. I just knew like the opportunities that I was getting that were leading to that could be a possibility. Our club team, which is the one that sent us to England, went over there and played, got a lot of good feedback. I actually got an offer to go play over there. So I was like, okay, like I think I'm going in the right direction as far as like soccer. Then I went to go play off in college, and I started off at a D1 a bigger school,
Yeah.
and then I just wasn't a fan of the big D1 feel. Like it was kind of like a lot going on.
For sure.
So I transferred to a smaller school, and then I stuck it out there. And I was supposed to again transfer back out to go play at Ohio State, but I fell in love like an idiot and decided to just deny the scholarship and stay at the small school. And that's when I kind of realized I was like, okay, I think I just want to do entertainment, stick it out there.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's awesome. That's a cool story. And honestly, dude, that's something that I had no idea that you ever were a part of or did. But that's so cool. So that transition into, radio and that, were you into country music beforehand? Like coming up from Texas, I bet there's a lot of Texas artists you grew up on.
Yeah.
When was that like a notice where you were like, music's a big thing in my life, or just like the entertainment industry itself?
High school. Back, I grew up in a really, really rough area to start off with, and I think it was affecting me and my sister. So my sister's a WNBA like basketball player right now, and growing up, we were in just really bad situations. Like we were around a lot of gangs. The community was not the best, and we were not like reaching our full potential. Like she was going to be a star, but we were getting caught up in the wrong scenes. So we quickly switched schools to a more Western schools. It was out in the country.
Okay.
And what was originally started off as going to the clubs turned to going to dance halls when we switched schools. And I was like, everybody's talking about this dance hall was called Cowboys. And everybody's talking about Cowboys Dance Hall, Cowboys Dance Hall. I'm like, what the hell is Cowboys Dance Hall?
Is this Oklahoma?
This is in Texas, San Antonio.
Texas,
yeah, they have one in Oklahoma. They have one in Dallas. But the one that we grew up on was in San Antonio. And everybody was going there, like underage, like 18. Like that's what everybody was doing. So then that's what the scene that I started to hang around, and I fell in love with dancing. I was like, wow, this is so fun. Less scary than going to the clubs. Like a little bit of more weight off your shoulder when you're going out to stuff like that. So I was just started dancing from since 2015 up to now. Like I'm on a decade of just dancing, and being around that music all the time. I was like, oh, this is what I listen to all the time. Like this is what I can talk about. This is what I enjoy talking about. Because when I came out of college, I had a couple job offers for hip hop radios and pop stations, but I was like, if I'm being realistic, I'm not going to enjoy talking about hip hop and pop music
Do what you love.
as much as I would country music, So I was like, I'm going to kind of stick it out. Came to Nashville and did all the. Can I cuss on this?
Yeah, absolutely.
I did all the bitch work.
Podunk Perspective.
Did all the bitch work to begin with, and then kind of work my way up. But I knew country music like the back of my hand, and I was like, this is so easy to talk to, which is kind of why it was easy to navigate myself in this town when going out. Is because I can easily hold conversations, and it's all country music artists.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really cool. So obviously you come from a family full of athletes. You just said your sister's in the WNBA. What team does she play for?
She is now in Dallas.
That's awesome.
Yeah, she just got traded to Dallas.
So that's home state.
Yeah, so she gets to go back home.
That's so cool.
Yeah. She did 3 years at Indiana, and then she just moved. She's just going back to Dallas.
Damn, that is awesome. So you get into the dancing scene, and I find that crazy cool because especially going to the Nashville Palace and stuff around here, I get to see how talented these dancers are, and it ain't easy.
Not at all.
No, especially to be good at this, it does not seem, I can't do it.
Yeah.
But then I see you get out there and you post the videos up on your socials and stuff, and you're killing it.
Yeah.
It's awesome. So is that something you grabbed on real quick, the whole dancing scene, or you did that when you were younger and it was just something you grew up with?
It was just a hobby for all of us. I said, in Texas, that was just the biggest hobby to be a part of, and everybody wanted to be good. So you're studying off of others, you're watching people, you're getting better, and you're doing that every weekend. Yeah. I mean, when I'm not traveling, I'm at Nashville Palace. I was there yesterday. I'm going there tonight. It's the most fun escape for dancers is just go be free on the dance floor. So.
And you have a big hand in the Nashville Palace. Can you kind of explain what you do exactly with the
So
Palace?
when that dance hall first started, it was more like an event space. It just wasn't like a dance hall feel. As soon as I moved here, the first spot that I went to go find my friends, were at dance hall. So I started off at Wild Horse. It was the first place I started dancing. Then I started traveling around the cities like Whiskey Dicks and Cahoots and all this stuff like that. But Palace was kind of it was the only one in Nashville aside from Wild Horse. But it was just it had so much more to offer. It just wasn't doing it. Yeah. So we kind of built that dance hall from the ground up. I mean, I've been there since it first became a dance hall. I'm having my input. They're well respected over there. They respect me. And then I started DJing. Mm-hmm. I picked up DJing randomly. I'm talking about Nashville is really based off of multiple sources of income.
Yep.
I bought this little $200 board off of Amazon and then learned how to do it on my own.
Yeah.
And just, I was like, and they were like, hey, have you ever considered being a DJ at a dance hall? And at first, like, I like to give respects to DJs because this is what they train to do for the rest of their lives, you know? So at first I said, no, like, I'm not going to DJ. Like, that's not my field house. But as I continued, I was like, oh, I mean, I know country music. I know the up and coming country music. I know
what people want to dance to.
I know what people want to dance to. So I was like, damn, maybe I should just give this a go. And it turned into a really big side gig. But that starting off at Nashville Palace turned into me going to go DJ at all these festivals and conventions outside of the dance hall. So I was like, damn, this opened up a whole other door that I never thought I could do. But because I know country music, and Nashville Palace gave me that shot, and I'm there every week. So it's like when I do DJ, I'm pretty much getting drunk and dancing.
Yeah.
As I would if I were just out on another night.
That is so cool. And dude, that whole area is one of my favorite places to go, but Nashville Palace specifically is a great time, great hangout. You can go to the front and have more of your bar scene, do karaoke, or you can go to the back and dance with you see your see you DJ. Yeah, that's so cool. So what, like, getting into DJing and playing music more, what is, your, like, some of your favorite artists that you go to, when it comes to playing dance songs, like, not just listening to, right? Just like artists that, like, you love to play DJing. Yeah.
So for DJing wise, I like to keep it a little bit versatile. And if you go to Texas, you're going to get a lot of like red dirt country artists and that traditional 2-step, 1-step. But in Nashville, what's so good about Nashville Palace is it's so everywhere. We get to play whatever music we want, and it's also a line dance bar. So how we do our format is 3 partner dancing songs, 3 line dance songs. We shuffle that throughout the whole night. And then we get like a little bit of a 5 to 7 minute freestyle. You get to just, wild out, play whatever you want every hour. So like music versatility is important when it comes to working at Nashville Palace, because you got to be able to please everyone. So like, of course, the go-to artists, got to keep a good beat, the Jordan Davises, the Morgan Wallens, Cody Johnson's for sure. But if you want like that traditional, sometimes there's like older crowds there and you can't just, cater to just the younger people there. So you got to get a little bit older. So you get like the William Michael Morgans and the Mike Ryans, the Braxton Keys, the Josh Turners who have dancing songs and stuff like that. So it's really wide. Like the beauty of it is that when it is packed, you're playing your friends. That's the best thing. When artists are in, and that's what's cool. Like when artists come in, and it's a good thing I have the knowledge to know artists. I'll be like, oh, so-and-so is here. And I'll tell the DJ, hey, spin this song. And it just makes their world just light up when they see their songs are getting played, because everybody's going to dance to it.
Exactly.
There's never a time that dance floor is empty. Like they're always going to dance to it. So there's a lot of go-tos when it comes to DJing that place, but it's fun.
Oh, that's awesome. Especially being an artist, I can imagine it's pretty cool when you walk into a dance hall like that and all of a sudden your song's playing and you have 50, 100 people dancing all in sync to your song. It makes them feel so special too. Like
They'll come up and they'll give you big like praise and everything like that. And for us, it's so easy. Like we're just clicking a button, but when you know a good dance tune and people are gonna get out there and dance, that's what's gonna make an artist feel cool.
And it's great marketing for them. Like it's great on so many ends, but obviously people are listening to it, but now they're dancing to it. So then they go to another dance hall and they request that song. And now and
it keeps trickling up.
That is so cool, dude. So besides dancing and everything, you do a lot of Western fashion. Kind of tell me how you got into that. What was your lead into that? And what are some of your favorite brands?
Another one of those things that I kind of just fell into. I think a lot of what I do now has all been like the luck of the draw. Like I knew I wanted to be in the Western country space, but I was like, how am I gonna do this? Just kept putting myself in different places. But social media kind of happened. And when I first started social media, I was trying to do all the little fruity dances and the cringy dances because I thought that's what was, trending and stuff like that when it came to TikTok. And I was like, okay, this is just not me. And I kind of gave up on it. Then one day, propped the camera up and got dressed to go to a Cody Johnson concert and used his song, showed all the clothes that I already had, and it blew up. And so many people were just like, oh my God, your style this, and Western fashion this, and how do I do this and that? And I was like, wait a second. There's an avenue on social media for me to be myself now and not have to force anything. So then after that, I kind of just started working on, the Western fashion and then what people like to see and brands, and started having to learn. Because I didn't grow up. I grew up in Texas and it was very country. It wasn't like Western, like rodeo Western, So I didn't really know much about like the starched jeans and the different shapes and everything like that. Because like I said, I grew up on 750 acres, but it was just like a ranch of just fishing tanks and hunting hogs. That was it. So I didn't know anything about like the style itself. So that's when I started like poking around, watching other people, started learning and stuff like that, and kind of like just everything progressed as it went. But I know me and Pierre, good friends.
Yeah.
And it was one day that I saw him out at the dance hall up in Clarksville, Electric Cowboy.
Yeah.
And it's always a funny story to tell because it was like we were only two black guys in there. They were dressed Western, and I'm looking at him across, and he's looking at me like, who's that other black guy in here and stuff like that. So that's how we became like really really good buddies. And he's from a super small town. And I tell a story all the time. It's like when I first started doing social media, I told him, I was like, dude, there's an avenue for Western fashion on social media. I was like, you should look into starting it. And he was like, no, I can't do it, bro. Like, my small town friends are going to make fun of me and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, dude, I'm telling you, like, there's an avenue, right? So he goes off and makes a video too, and it blows up, and he just freaking skyrockets, So it's like, so I learned a lot off of him too, because he comes from that actual culture. He used to ride bulls and stuff like that. So I give a lot of my praise to him too, because I mean he helped me out with a lot of different styles, and it was one of those things we were never really trying to compete with each other.
Absolutely,
and he was always like helping whenever I needed help, and then we just became closer and closer.
Well, like from my perspective, seeing this, moving to Nashville, following you guys before I even moved to Nashville, right? Seeing just mostly the Western attire, and seeing how you guys do things and seeing you guys blowing up, you guys kind of created that path where a few years later to today, there's a lot of people doing Western influence when it comes to fashion or, anything. But would you say that like you see a lot of trends that were maybe started by you or Pierre out there?
I mean, yeah, a lot. I mean, there's probably people who were doing it before that, but we kind of like, had a little bit of a, they're doing it type of ordeal. I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell because I'm pretty sure there was people doing it before us.
No,
but it was like when we started doing it, and then you see a lot of people starting to like do similar things or like telling us like, oh, I looked up to you guys and blah, 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 blah. And it was just so social media really opened up a crazy amount of doors. And the thing about social media is that a lot of people are always like, oh, you probably, make a lot of money and you probably, you get whatever you want, yada, yada, yada. But for me, I tell people all the time, like social media opened up the doors to the point where I get to do interviews at the red carpet. I get to meet all these artists and stuff like that. I got to learn how to team rope and ride horses like a couple years ago. And I think that was the biggest thing for me that came out of social media was learning so much about this space that I've always wanted to be a part of but could never afford. I wasn't around it enough. My parents, I mean, none of my family is country, and now my mom and dad both own over 3 pairs of boots. And my sister's next. So it's just cool what this space has done. Social media has really, really opened up some doors. And back to your first question, I mean, brands wise, I'm working with brands that I've literally never thought or had never even dreamed of working with. Like when I first started social media, it was very small brands like Whiskey Band and Western Threads and stuff like that. And through the consistency and putting myself out there, I'm now like, I work with Wrangler almost every year. I get invited out to NFR to go do hosting with Rock and Roll Denim. I just did a video with Luke Casey's. I'm really cool with Takovas. And it's just like saying all these freaking names is just insane to think about.
Some of the biggest names in Western fashion.
So it was just a blessing to be a part of. And it took some adjusting because you got a lot of hate for it. And it was something that me and him both had to work on early on because we were getting a lot of hate. And it was just a different type of attention that I just was never used to. But again, it also helped me get to the point where I am now, to the point where I'm like, I am a respected individual in Nashville, not because I'm trying to walk around like a big name, but it's because what I do is to help others and inspire.
Well, and it's weird because when I obviously, like I said in the beginning, all I see is positivity come from you. So for someone to hate on what y'all are doing is crazy in my head. I just think that it all stems from what you want to do, what makes you happy, right? And you're not going to let anyone tell you how you want to dress or what you want to do because you get one life, and that's how you're going to live it,
Exactly.
Would you say the hate at first was it took you back, or you were able just to push right through it and you were like, screw these guys, I'm going to do what I want to do?
Yeah, I think what I tell people all the time is that the hate was helpful. I say it all the time, like, being new to the space at the time, like there was stuff that I didn't know, right? That when people would put hate comments like, you can't freaking do that, you idiot. And I'm like, oh shit. Like, as much as that's like an insult to me, it's like, damn, I didn't know I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
Right. So I learned. And that's how I kind of navigate hate, is like a majority of it's helpful. Like, if you're doing what you want to do because you like to do it, people's hate is going to be like, it's just going to be weird.
Yeah.
And like when we first started, of course, it was just like the stereotype narrative and you guys are not real cowboys and black people this and piercings and cowboys don't have braids and blah, 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 blah. It's all stupid shit, like stuff that I'm like, what do you mean go shave my head because cowboys don't have dreads or something like that? Like, the hate was stupid. Yeah. And as you progress through it now to the point where it's just like, now my accolades are so big, it's like anytime I get a hate comment, you have a whole sea full of people like, shut up. Like, I don't even have to, I don't really have to say anything.
Team Rod, baby.
I have like a whole army of people who now are going to be like, bro, like, shut up. Your hate doesn't even make sense. Or especially when I go dance Mexican, like I go dance at the Mexican clubs all the time. And then some people would be like, what do you know about Mexican music? And you'll have a sea of people like, bro, do you know who he is? Like his content speaks for himself. Like, none of that shit is faked. Bro, like, everything I do on social media is just straight what I do.
Dude, that is so cool. And that's exactly one of the reasons why I wanted to bring you on there, because you're just one of the realest people in this town. And that's hard to find, you know, honestly, living here. And you see a lot of artists, you see a lot of influencers, and they're not truly all what they say, what they're saying they are. So from my end, I do respect that. So you mentioned Wrangler and Lucchese and Tacovas. You put out a video recently.
Oh, no.
You don't have to say the answer. I wasn't sure how I was going to bring this up. You don't have to say the answer, but you put out a video recently. It was either Tacovas or Lucchese, I think it was. Was it fun making that video?
It was fun. It was fun. It kind of happened at random. I wasn't even trying to make that video. I was doing like just a video of like the newest boots that I got, and the Tacovas box was there with the Lucchese's box. And I remember somebody commenting on my Tacovas video, and they were saying like, "Yo, which one's better, Lucchese's or Tacovas?" And Tacovas actually commented on the video with eyes. So I was like, okay, like this could be a kind of a fun joke, being that they're both from Texas.
Yeah.
So then I would just like randomly sit in the house and I was like, well, let me just make this video. And then I just went different places and did the video.
Yeah. So I work over at Lucchese. Rod knows that. And I don't think you realize, man, how much of a comparison that people like come in and like, oh, is it Lucchese or is it Tacovas? Like all the time. You have all these people that wear boots, whether it's first-time boot wearers or people that, been wearing boots for years and have been all these different brands. Yeah. They always come in asking, oh, do people like Lucchese's or Tacovas better? And people that work over at Lucchese, you got to say Lucchese. And personally, I think it's true. I've tried both. I personally think it's a Lucchese. Especially once you break that bad boy in, it feels like a slipper.
Here's why I didn't answer.
No, I don't blame you. I wasn't trying to get the answer out of you.
No. But I'm gonna tell you why I didn't answer when everybody was asking. I haven't worn my Lucchese's yet.
Ooh.
So I haven't worn them yet. So technically, right now I'm Team Tacovas.
Yeah. Damn.
And I have been working with them for a long time. So.
Okay, that's fair. What pair did you get from Lucchese?
Those crocodile snip toes.
Okay.
Yeah. David was helping me out.
Yeah. So. What color? Black? Or?
They're like brownish gold.
Cool. Nice.
Yeah, they're nice. They're nice as hell.
So obviously that's something you could wear during the CMA Awards. So back to CMA Awards you were talking about earlier. You do a lot of interviews and stuff on the red carpet for CMA Awards. Who have you interviewed? Who have been the coolest interviews?
I've interviewed pretty much everybody. Like I don't think there's, maybe besides George Strait, is like the only big name that I think I haven't, aside from maybe like a Carrie Underwood. Actually, no, we talked to Carrie. I've pretty much interviewed almost everybody. Some of the coolest ones, again, when I've been doing the interviews for about 4 years now, and every time I do the like CMAs or anything like that, I'm always dressed to the nines. Yep. So it's kind of hard to forget me, Sir. So every interaction that I've had with an artist, that next year they remember me. Yep. So I've never really had a bad incident with any artist or anything like that. All the conversations have been cool. George Burge, dope. Yeah. Like interviewing him was fun. Parker McCollum is always my favorite one. Yep. 4 reasons was like when I first interviewed him. A lot of times people are like, you interview these big artists and they must be like assholes and blah 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 blah. I mean, he messaged me. He actually followed me first, and then like had
George or Parker?
Parker,
Oh, sorry.
and he was talking about like it's always a pleasure interviewing with you and blah 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 blah. He commented on one of my videos, so it's like one of those big artists that are genuine like that, are like ones that are also memorable. But of course, like my number one is going to be Kodro. The Kodro one was the biggest one I think I've ever done, and that's when I first started doing CMA Award interviews, and that was I was such a huge Kodro fan, and when they said he was coming through, I just like locked the hell in.
Yeah.
Like I was like, this interview is gonna be one of the best interviews that I want him to remember.
Yeah.
And I remember like the questions that I asked were just like, because this is when he was first breaking through, and the questions that I asked were stuff that like was really catching him off guard. Because I remember after the interview was done, he's like, damn, that was a really good question. Like nobody's ever asked me that before. Because I asked about his military shout outs that he does at all of his concerts, because there was a lot of misconceptions about like, the racism thing and politicals. And then after that interview, I remember him coming up to me. He was like, "Where are you from?" And I said, "Texas." And he said, "I can tell." He said, "Real recognizes real." And I, as soon as he said that, went to the bathroom and teared the hell up.
That's
I was
a
like,
good feeling
this
right there.
man is like, my freaking inspiration, biggest artist that I love. And for him to say that to me in a time where I was like, am I really going to be accepted in this space? Which is everything. And that kind of like led me to keep going and stuff like that. And I'm seeing him next week. So it was cool. But other than that, who else is pretty cool? Morgan was fun. Yep. Morgan Wallen was fun, and that was when he was like recovering from his little incident back in the day. So I had caught him like when it was fresh. So that was fun. Probably never gonna ever interview him again. He's very strict about who he interviews with. Chris Stapleton was a rare one. He doesn't really do a lot of interviews, so that was rare. Shabuzi is always fun. That one's always a fun one. But yeah, bro, I pretty much interviewed everybody. Like they're all cool.
So how'd you land that gig? Like
again,
like how the hell, dude? Like I mean, obviously since the first year you started up until now, they became more of a bigger thing. Yeah. And you do such a great job with it. They seem like they bring a lot of personality out of these artists when you're with them.
Yeah.
And that's really cool to see. So are you the one preparing like these questions and stuff? Oh, so it's not.
We come up with we do everything.
Yeah.
And that gig. So I was working with a third party, which is a creative agency, and we get booked up by companies. So with that agency that I was working for, we got booked up by CMA for the last 3 years. And being that originally it was just like interview to camera, like I was never on camera. But because I had such good relationships with a lot of the artists, and because I had a good following and a personality, they were like, "Would you ever consider doing like the on the street questions on camera and stuff like that, and doing doing more on camera stuff?" And I was like, "Yeah, 100%, I would do it." But even before that, I was with Amazon Music, and we went to the ACM Awards in Vegas. That was my first big shot. So like when I first discovered the job, or the job discovered me through an Amazon documentary that I was in, they were like, "Hey, we have the ACM Awards coming up in a few weeks. Would you want to be our red carpet host for Amazon Music?" This is when I've never done it before. Like I was not employed with them, no nothing. I was still serving a cheesecake and working in radio and promotion. So I was like, yeah. And they were like, "Oh, you've done this before, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course." Lied, definitely lied.
Love it.
And then went off to Vegas and did that was the first time I've ever did like the red carpet interviews. And that was with the ACMs with Amazon Music. After that, did some more interviews with Artists to Watch, which is another thing with Amazon Music, did that. And then luckily right after that, CMAs came and signed with us too. So I did 3 more years of interviewing with the CMAs. So it was kind of like right place, right time. Yep. But it's like Nashville's also always based off of, just be ready. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a patient town and everybody gives up on it so early because things don't pop like they wanted to. But it only takes that one time when, it happens at random and you're just ready. And you lock the hell in, and then you go.
No, I talked about this on a recent episode, that you have to have a strong mental, just living in the city in general, but being in the industry that you're in, or like a musician's in, it's not easy.
No, not at all.
It's very easy to pick up and say, "See you, Nashville. I'd had my few years here. It's not working,
Yep.
But they call it a 10-year town for a reason, and with social media, everything is constantly changing.
Yeah.
It's,
oh yeah.
So when you first started your social media journey up until now, explain kind of like that change, that like how you've had to pivot,
Yeah.
in multiple ways.
I had to be more aware of my surroundings as far as like what I'm doing out and about. I had to be consistent, like getting up and wanting to do content. But I would more so say like just knowing that there's gonna be more eyes on you now.
For sure.
Like everything that you do, people are gonna know about. Who you talk to, people are gonna know about. What f ups you do, or people are gonna know about. So I think social media taught me to be just more aware of what's going on. If I'm going out to get absolutely hammered, like I'm being responsible about it.
Yeah.
Not trying to like drink and drive, and
Yeah.
when it's bad, or like not getting in spats with cops, and just anything of that sort. Not fighting and shit like that. Just because it's like the way that I see it is that like being an African American in the space already, let alone was like already a target on my back. I never wanted to be the person to be like, do something and then give these people a reason to be like, I told you so.
Yeah.
That was always like always my thought process is don't get yourself in trouble for something that you caused, and you'll never have to, reap the repercussions, So I had to learn to be more aware, like things that I was doing, who I'm talking to, just to be more careful, because one thing can get out and it can ruin you. You see a lot of these social media TikTok drama and stuff like that, and because their lives are for everybody, what I'm saying? So it's like everybody's in your business, and now like worldwide people are making decisions on which team they want to sway against, and I was like that's so stupid. But that's your life now, because your life is all over the world. So I think for me the biggest thing was learn to be more aware of things that are going on around me, learn to be more aware of things that I'm doing, people that I'm pursuing, things that I'm saying, like just to be smarter, because now you're in those rooms, and the goal is to pull out the chair for somebody else, like somebody did for me. So it's like I'm never gonna get there if I'm messing up, going out, fucking up and stuff like that. So being more aware, being more locked in,
being a good person, right?
Yeah, I mean that too.
Like people say all the time, especially in the music industry, I hear it like, if you be a good person, it goes a long way. Be a good hang, be a good friend.
Yeah.
Don't start shit, don't cause shit.
That's simple.
Yeah.
Go out, shake hands, meet everybody, do your thing, but don't go out there and try to be anything else in this town. Like they're gonna see right through it. There's too many talented people out here, for people to give a damn about you trying to make a point.
What's some advice you can give the future people moving to Nashville, and just the aspect on, what you should expect, how it's going to change you?
Yeah. I'll give you some of the things that my mentor told me early on. And it's been changing. Back in 2019, like social media wasn't what it was. So of course it's a little bit different. But back then my mentor always told me to go be relevant in everybody's business. And for the longest time when he told me that, I was like, what the hell does that mean? Like being in everybody's business is bad. Like I don't want to do that. But it kind of happened on its own. I started DJing by random. I started social media by random. I got more involved in the dance communities out here at random. Started a bowling league, and I met friends who that like I was doing so many things that my name kept coming up in conversations. And like when it finally clicked, and then I started doing like the bigger jobs, like with the red carpet and stuff like that. I was like, go be relevant in everybody's business. The more people know you for the right reasons, the more your name's gonna keep coming up.
And I bet the biggest compliment you can get today is, I see you everywhere.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. Or like everybody says I should know you, or people said I should know you. Who are you?
Yeah.
Like you look important. What the hell do you do? And I'm always like, it could be the most random times I'm just sitting at the bar like having a drink, and just because like I dressed up everywhere I go, because it's the first conversation started that somebody's gonna say. If somebody doesn't feel comfortable coming up to me, or if I don't feel comfortable going to somebody and be like, yo, that's a nice hat. And be like, oh, thank you, blah, blah, blah. This is where I got it from. Oh, what was your affiliation? It's an easy conversation starter.
Yes, sir.
And so if you always look the part, people are gonna think you're important. And you need to have an important mindset when you want to make it in this town. So go be relevant in everybody's business. What is the other one? Always be ready.
Yeah.
That's such a simple one, but dude, always be ready and be coachable. That was the biggest thing that I not had to learn, but that I cherish.
Right.
Going like since moving here, I didn't know everything. I'm not gonna know everything, but I will learn.
And being able to admit that right there,
I will want to learn.
Is one of the biggest things. It's when you come into especially a town like this, acting like you know everything. it ain't gonna work out.
Not at all.
Having that mindset of I don't know everything. I'll listen to what people say, but I might only take 50, 60% of what that person's saying, and then apply my own 50 to 60%.
Exactly.
And I think that's really cool, especially living in this city and seeing all, how we were saying earlier, how not everyone is super down to earth, not everyone is real. And that's one way to show that you are a real person.
Yeah. And I mean, the fun thing about people not being real, it's crazy how many people I hear don't like me, but shake my hand and act as if we're the best of buddies.
Yeah.
And it recently just happened. And it's just, I think it defines you a lot though, because like me knowing that you don't like me and me knowing that you've talked about me and yada, 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 but me still shaking your hand and being okay with you, I think says a lot. And this is not me trying to toot my own horn, but I think it says a lot about me personally, because I use that hate as helpful. That's why it goes back to saying that, like, people don't like you because you are doing good.
Yeah.
And I learned that. Like, it was just like, you're doing really, really well for 27.
Yep.
Right? You're doing a lot of things that people would love to do, and it's a blessing. So getting pissed off at other people and trying to, like, shunning people out, or like, I'm not going to talk to them because they don't like me and they said this about me. Bro, people are going to talk about you in this town. People are going to talk about you, let alone the fact that if you're successful, people are really going to talk about you.
The biggest small town.
Bro, your friends, your people close to you, like, it happens.
Yeah.
It happens. How you react and how you handle it is going to say everything about how people are going to see you.
Yeah.
Right? If I was pissed off about everybody and reacted about the way that everybody talked about me, I wouldn't be sitting here right now with you, because I'd be soft.
Yep.
I would have let it get to me. I wouldn't want to keep going. But bro, like, the more successful you are, the dumber the hate looks. Yep. That's the quote. The more successful you are, the dumber the fucking hate looks.
I love that. That is so true. And obviously, I mean, it's very true with you.
Yeah.
Especially going into this new year. I feel like you have a lot of cool things coming up. Can you tell us some of the big things you got planned for 2025?
Actually, I don't know yet. I mean, I kind of taking it by day. I might be switching creative agencies.
Okay.
So that might open up another door as far as more brands. Like I said, Nashville is based off of, like, your versatility. Yeah. And I've been around a lot of country music and a lot of those, like, Western brands. But this new agency works with a lot of more different people, like Rain and Body Armor. And they're actually at the Super Bowl right now doing content. So I think it'd be cool to add the more urban-y lifestyle stuff to me. So potentially a new gig with the creative agency. I just judged a pageant for the first time, so that was
cool. What type of pageant?
Like a beauty pageant.
Really?
It was Miss North Carolina, South Carolina. So that was really cool. It was an experience. That was a fun little project. Other than that, might be going back to Stagecoach to be doing interviews again. Who knows? I mean, things kind of just pop up sporadically. Like I said, you just be ready. But me and Pierre have been trying to get a podcast going for a while, so we're working out the kinks on that.
Sweet.
So that's another big project that I'm working on. But other than that, kind of just day to day, just seeing what pops up and staying ready.
That's awesome. So you mentioned something about you and Pierre about possibly starting a podcast. Is that something that's going to be mostly Western influence based, or are you going to kind of start to get away with that and go towards something else?
I think it'll be open. The goal is to be pretty open. We started a brand together back in like 2022, and it was Influence Country.
Yeah. And
basically the whole dynamic was it was influencing your own style of country, whether that be how you dress, what you do for a living, your work, yada yada yada, the music you listen to. But the goal is to have any and everybody on there. Like we don't want to. It's not just going to be country music based. It's not going to be just Western based. But we've got some pretty cool people that have already, like, if you guys ever get it going, like, let me know, because they want to come on and talk. So keeping it really diverse and versatile is going to be the goal for that podcast. So,
well, y'all are so well connected. I mean, I see it firsthand walking through Nashville. I see you guys, everyone's shaking you guys' hands, everything like that. What are some of your favorite spots in Nashville? What are some of your favorite things to do?
Nashville Palace for sure. It's always gonna be number one. If I had more of a Mexican community of friends, there's a dance hall in Where is it at?
I feel like I know what you're talking about.
Bucanas. It's called Bucanas.
Yeah.
And it's over there on that side of town. And they dance norteñas and cumbia and all that other stuff like that. And I wish I had been, like I said, I'm from San Antonio. So anytime I go back to Texas, I go dance norteñas with all my friends.
Do you speak Spanish?
Just a little bit. Enough to understand it, to be able to have a conversation. And for soccer was the main thing. But if I had a bigger Mexican community, I would be at that dance hall for sure. But other than that, I like to go to little wine spots. I just went to a new one, Sauced, that just opened up yesterday. I like to go to Rose Pony. Another wine spot, Barcelona. I don't really do a lot of like the clubby stuff.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
Not really like a Broadway guy, not Barstool guy, not a Tin Roof guy.
Have you been out to Arrington?
Yes, so I've been out there. That's always cool.
Yeah,
but that's like seasonal, so you only can go like when it's warm out.
No, for sure.
I really just keep it simple. I'm always traveling.
Yeah.
So if I'm in town, I'm pretty much dancing or busy doing work or something like that. But other than that, I'm pretty much traveling.
So is there a lot of difference between like, I don't know what you call it, like your Spanish dancing to like your your Western dancing?
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's a little bit different. It's different. it's a little different.
So what are a few artists that you grew up on?
Cody Johnson, for sure. Casey Donahue.
It doesn't have to be country.
Oh, not country?
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty much.
It can be anyone.
My music taste has changed over time. A majority of it was country early on. Sam Smith. That is my quiet one.
Love it.
That Sam Smith.
He's a killer voice.
Oh, he's absolutely insane. It's funny here. Like I'll snitch on myself. This is the only time I've ever told somebody this. He had a concert here, and it was like last year. But this is like when he was, going off the deep end, I guess, as people should say.
Yeah.
And of course, like he's big on his pride, and but I'm I am a big Sam Smith fan. Like his music back in the day was phenomenal. His music now is still good, but like I said, it's like those concerts get a little bit exposing now.
Yeah.
So I went to the concert with only one friend. I was like, I cannot be seen here. I said I can't tell nobody. I didn't post about it, no nothing. And I was like,
did you go with a girl or a guy?
I went with a girl. I had to go with a girl. But I'm talking about like there was just a lot going on in the crowd, and I was like, yeah, I can't post. I can't let nobody know that I went. But it was a phenomenal concert. So listening to him growing up was cool. Mike Ryan. I listened to
I love Mike Ryan.
It really was majority country music growing up, like Florida Georgia Line, Jason Aldean. Then as I got into college, it switched to Mexican. So I was listening to Grupo Frontera. I was listening to La Pusema, like Bad Bunny, Ozuna. Like that Mexican side started to really, really come out.
And for people that don't know who Grupo Frontera is, like they're like people like considered them like the Morgan Wallen or like the Drake of like Spanish music.
Ozuna and Bad Bunny would be like the Drake and Morgan Wallen of other genre. Grupo Frontera is gonna be more. It's gonna be like the Rascal Flats of Mexican music and stuff like that. Yeah,
it's so cool.
They've been around for a minute, and they're a really well known group. So
damn, dude, that's wild.
It's the San Antonio culture in me coming out.
So living in Texas, what are a few Texas places that you love to go to when you're back home? And check out.
Houston and Dallas have Escapado One, which is the Mexican dance hall. So anytime I go back home, my dead ass, we go there every time. Cowboys Dance Hall to go dance, of course. I really like San Antonio for the food. Like we have breakfast tacos back in San Antonio, and people don't understand the difference. They're like, "Oh, a burrito." I'm like, "No, it's a fucking breakfast taco." It's like our thing that we're known for. So always going back to those taco shops are important. What else? I usually go do the same thing in Texas, bro. It's like it's events, dancing.
Is there certain cities you like to go check out? Yeah,
Houston, San Antonio, Dallas.
How's Austin?
Austin's cool. I really didn't have it wasn't like I need to go back to Austin. Like there was nothing going on to the point where I cared to be there. So like what I go back do is to go back and dance. So it's like if there's no dancing there, then there's no point in me going. You know, so I usually just stay in Houston majority because one of my homies is over there. So I usually go back to Houston. Dallas has the same stuff, like a really big dance hall, Cowboys over there, and the Mexican dance hall. So Dallas, Houston, and San Antonio are the main three that I usually hang around at.
Nice. So being from Texas, there's a lot of Grammy stuff going out and about right now. I would love to get your opinion on the Grammy stuff that's going on. And Obviously, the big debate right now, you have Beyonce. She's a Texas artist, and a lot of people don't agree with the award she won.
Mm-hmm.
What's your perspective on it?
You know, I feel like it's the Grammys. Like country music has the CMAs, country music has the ACMs, they have the CMT awards. What is one diverse award show going to hurt country music listeners' pride for an award show that's strictly based for different genres of music?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's no best rap album for CMA.
Yeah.
There's no best rap album for ACM, right? So it's just like, who fucking cares that the Grammys wanted to give Beyonce Album of the Year? You know what I'm saying? Like, the people in the category, yes, definitely deserving of winning it. Definitely a phenomenal artist. But you have Lainey Wilson, who just won Entertainer of the Year.
Yep.
Luke Combs, who just won Entertainer of the Year. Like, for their award show.
Yep.
And the best way that I think it was explained, I think it was either Luke Bryan or Blake Shelton, said about Beyonce, which is like, for her coming into country music, if she would just sit down and have shaken a hand with some other country artists and showed that she wanted to be a part of it, so many other country people and listeners wouldn't be as upset. You know what I'm saying? Like, because the whole real debate was like, well, Post Malone was welcomed pretty easily in, and I'm like, okay, well, Post Malone has been performing with every fucking country artist known, you know what I'm saying? Regardless of his Texas roots, he's putting the work in the country space to do so. You know what I'm saying? Like, he put out an album, he went on tour for that country album, he performed with all these top artists at Stagecoach, and he's still doing it. Beyonce made one album. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is why people are offended. It's just like, you know, she made one album and then she went ghost.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think I'm 50-50 on it because, you know, I do respect country music listeners and like how they feel about, you know, what the music and genre is turning into. Mind you, it's evolving every day. But it's just like, for me, the most important thing that came out of Beyonce winning that Grammy was the people that she fucking got a Grammy with them. Yeah. Willie Jones is a great friend of mine. Raina Roberts is a great friend of mine. Shabuzi's a great friend of mine. They all just got Grammys. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody's so focused on, oh, she's not country, but she just helped out so many other smaller artists that just now got a major accolade to show people that, you know, there is diversity in country music. So it can go either way. Like, I'm not here to gatekeep either side of it.
Well, I think what fans want or what fans see is you want your Beyoncés to win the CMAs and you want your country artists to win
the Grammys. Exactly.
You want that flip flop, right? And I feel like that's what fans want to see. But part of it too is I think fan voting would change things up. What is your perspective on fan voting compared to the way they do it now?
They can't fan vote. They can't fan vote. If they fan vote, certain artists are going to win every fucking year.
But isn't that
but here, I think the only issue with that is you take the old generation of how people got music and music listeners, and you try to compare that to the new generation of what people are finding music on social media. Right? So like there was a whole big issue about like, you know, Bailey Zimmerman's getting their shot at country music when he just started country. You know, he'll tell himself like, oh, I just picked up a guitar one day and I figured out I could sing and then I got famous. You know what I'm saying? Like, but there's artists before that who have been putting the work in for years. And have never been able to get the time of day. So if you make that fan voted, and mind you, this is what I'm saying, Bailey bought 1 million people over to listen to his music. So whatever label he signed into now just brought 1 million people with him over to that. So if you were to put fan voting of the new generation of how social media works and just be like, yo, go vote for me to my 32 million followers that listen to my music, they're always going to outweigh, you know, the world just because it's just the way that it works.
Well, and I was having this conversation the other day, and you're right? People would win over and over again, but I wonder if they like almost created this thing where you can only win an award once, and then once you win that award, you can only be up for it again 5 years later. So like every 5 years, you can be up for that same award.
5 might be kind of hard. 5 might be kind of long. I would say maybe every 2 years. But then again, that takes away from the whole point of the award show. The award show is the best music, the best artist in that position. So if Zach Top is going to be the best artist for the next 3 years, he shouldn't have to wait to be the best. You know what I'm saying? Like, he should win it every year. But like, that's what I'm saying. If it goes down to fan voted, Morgan Wallen would have won Entertainer of the Year for the past 10 years or the past 5 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was so much controversy in that because he should have won time after time after time again. And if it was fan voted, he would have won them all.
Yeah. I mean, you are probably absolutely right. It's just interesting to me. Like, you wonder how close like a Chris Stapleton would be or a Cody Johnson.
Yeah.
Votes wise, is it going to be close or is it going to be astronomical?
Yeah.
Separation.
I think it's going to be a big separation.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, technically, Shabuzi's song should have won
Yeah.
Song of the Year.
Yeah.
If we're talking realistically, like there's no other song that did what this song did. He broke records, right? And he didn't touch an award.
No.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, the fan voted, it would be really, really difficult. Because I mean, like I said, social media is taking over. So many people are going to win from social media easily. And then it's going to weigh out the other folks who've been doing it for so long. I mean, mind you, everybody wants Old Dominion to finally fucking lose. But you're not going to be able to do so. You know what I'm saying?
No.
If it's fan voted.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I feel like you can kind of get an inside perspective at being at these award shows and seeing how they go and everything. Is there a lot of like confidential aspect when it comes to talking to these artists, like saying certain things, bringing up certain things?
Oh yeah.
Like they give you a list of like, hey, this is what you can't say, this is what you can say.
Yeah, so that's the difficulty about interviews is like when you do the research and like the deep research is like, for me, I always want to go into these interviews and ask questions that they've never been asked before or really spark a nerve, make people cry, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
And when you do these deep dives of their life and you put it on the paper, you have to send over the sheets to their team beforehand so they can look at everything before you even ask it. And some of these questions I'm talking about can be as much as, if you were a fucking fruit, what fruit would you be? And they'll still mark it out and be like, no, we're not doing that. Like, I've had artists, and I kid you not, like, you think that's a super easy question, but on spot, they spaz the fuck out.
Yeah.
Some people will just like completely freeze up, and technically, if we were to post that, it makes them look bad. So then that's why we have to send everything. I kid you not. I asked somebody on a red carpet, and I said, if you had to work your way out of a maze, who are you taking with you? And she's sitting there. I'm not gonna say her name. She's sitting there like for 5 minutes thinking like, oh my God, this is so hard. I'm like, it's a fucking maze. Just pick anybody. So her team had to jump in and was just like, okay, stop the cameras. We're not doing this. And I'm like, bro, it's the most simplest question.
Just because you can sing don't mean you can talk.
Exactly. So it's like, on some of those, you have to prep.
Yeah.
And I'll snitch on myself. My worst interview was with Jason Aldean, and we were asking fun questions again, like not even thinking about it. And the question was, we were asking everybody. The question was, what is the craziest thing that's ever happened to you at a concert? Right? I asked it just quickly.
Yeah.
Didn't even think about
not thinking
the
about
shooting
it.
in Vegas. And I was like, and the whole room just went quiet.
Yeah.
So my team didn't catch on until like he left the room. Yeah. But mind you, he carried himself well. He answered the question like perfectly fine. But for us, it was like,
well, my thing, and obviously it takes Jason to answer a certain way, but you only make it a big deal if you make it a big deal.
Exactly.
Right? So if you answer a certain way and you just slide right, no one thinks
he played it off super well. But I was like, as a young interviewer, I was like, damn it. But that was like my only bad story that I've had. Everything else has been fun.
That's so cool. This has been a pleasure having you on this podcast. For people that don't know, Radio Rod is one of my favorite people in town. Go check him out on all his social medias. Is there anything you would like to plug before we dip out of here?
Go be great. Go be great. That's all I can say. Have some patience.
Sweet.
It'll be great.
Well, cheers, my man.
Cheers, brother.
Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Well, guys, this is the second episode of Podunk Perspective, and you heard it first from myself and Mr. Radio Rad.